Hello, Mr. Schnabler. I decided to do another fair video, but this time it isn't about any as official sources. This picture, which my girlfriend found a few weeks ago, it was about, well, this actually fan-made picture. But what you found, that in the description about the picture is about Dr. Fauna with the background pony Allie Way, one of the ponies we're seeing in Slice of Life in the bowling alley. Says that they are both lesbians and a mother and son, and that what if, she said, what if that that Allie Way is Dr. Fauna's wife and that her son, Strike, is her adopted son through marriage. I mean, I can see that happen. I mean, there are many very common for people who getting married with the same gender, or perhaps getting married to someone who has maybe a son or daughters in a previous marriage, or perhaps in a previous relationship, and that son of that new partner end up marrying it, and they and also end up adopting its child, which is very common to happen. So I can really see much that Allie Way is marrying with Dr. Fauna and that she ended up having an adopted son. But there is a question. If they are married and that Dr. Fauna has a son with her wife, Allie Way, where is Strike's father? Well, there are a few possibilities that might have happened. One, he might have passed away sometimes before after he was born, or he's during his childhood or something. Or it is a possibility that his both his parents were never married, and that they separated from their relationship, broke up, that maybe he didn't want to be a father and perhaps left her before, or perhaps even after the strike was born. We don't know certainly because, like I said, this is only as a fan made picture, so who knows. But if this was actually true, and all of the possibilities that, first of all, that the Easter world perhaps likely that it's more likely that Strike's father could have passed away before he was born, or perhaps even after he was born. Or his parents were never married, and that he left his family, that he didn't want to be a father, perhaps maybe could have ended up before his son was even born, or perhaps even after Strike was born. What if another possibility that he just didn't, maybe he were with along with were in Strike's life, perhaps for the first few years, maybe 3 or 4 years, and something happened, and that he couldn't handle it anymore. He was stressful to be a bit as a father, and that he's left. There is a very most common story, that part of theory, that what if that Strike's father somehow just left them shortly after that he was born. At first, he was very happy to be a father, and then he couldn't handle to be up all night shaking, take care of his babies. His son was crying all night, and his heat feeding behavior, and mostly after that he could be up all night, and then he has perhaps working all day, and that he had to take care of his son when his wife is away, or anyway is away for work. It's very likely that he could just snapped and told himself, "No, I cannot handle this anymore," and just leave. Which is, I have to say, is very common to happen. But which one of those possibilities do I think is likely? Well, to be honestly, I have no idea, because either of those possibilities could actually happen. And even if this wasn't even this as official show itself, because we don't know. Even that this all this was just fan-made pictures written as a family. But even though that could have, if this was a possibility, this could have been part of the show, maybe. But there might be some questions, and those some questions where I, if his father is still alive, where is he? Why isn't still been around his life, and why did he leave? Or were they married? Or what caused him to leave in the first place? Those questions might never be answered because it could have been there many, many different reasons. But if I must have to pick maybe one or two of the possibilities, maybe that he just left either that before or after his son was born and he couldn't handle it, or he didn't want to be a father. Another second is that maybe he just had passed away at some point, either before or sometimes after that his son was born, and that Allie Way had to raise her son by herself for maybe the first few years until she fell in love with Dr. Fauna, which later get married her, and they both helped her raise her son as a family. So there might be some of those possibilities, but I'm not so sure. But if I had to say, those are the two strongest possibilities. Either that he had passed away, or that he left his family even before his son was born, or maybe sometimes after that, or something. Because those are things that are most common to happen. But still, even if that did happen, that his father just left, he didn't want to be any part of his life anymore, maybe. But I think that he could be happy to have at least his mother still around and very much loving him so much deeply. Take caring of him, raising him by herself for some time until she met Dr. Fauna and fell in love when they get married and having a big family again. Even if that is very much common these days, that even though there are some families where could have been a mother who's falling in love with another woman and that she has maybe a kid as before, and both of the women are raising the child. But what would happen if Strike's real mother would have passed away, and if that Dr. Fauna didn't adopt him, and if his father was still alive but still didn't want to have anything to do with his son, and that would end up that Strike would have likely been end up on a foster family or if even an orphanage. Because since Dr. Fauna, if she wasn't had adopted her Strike in the first place, she would not have any parental rights to raise him. Even if she had been there let's say from when he was maybe 3 or 4 years old and up to maybe 10, still would not have the right to raise him after that. So, but I think that is what's most likely that could happen. But I think, in my beliefs, that the two only likely possibilities, from my opinion, that Strike's father could have left either sometimes before he was born or after sometimes afterwards. Or he could just have simply passed away at some point, maybe just before or after, because this is just as a fan-made picture, but other indicates either could have been possibility or total matters. Like the parents never been together, like never married, just been in a relationship, but at some point they couldn't handle anymore, and that he couldn't handle to be a father because be up all night to take care of his son. Who knows? So that maybe he breaks and just leaves, which I had to admit that is a very common effect of um, in family these days. But it happens. But if I had to say the most very likely possibility is that his father could have been left his family either before or after Strikes was born. But what do I say about what if Dr. Fauna were married with Allie Way and have an adopted son? Well, I really have to say there was a very strong family ties to a family, and it would have been the very first same-sexual family, the same gender raising in a family in the show if it was official. But unfortunately, we never saw that, or it would never happen. But at least we've seen there were a same gender relationship in the show between Aunt Lofty and Aunt Holiday of Scootaloo's aunt. At least that were official. And later, for example, Lyra and Sweet Drops, or aka Bon Bon. But otherwise, what if that it is all this possibility that Dr. Fauna could have been married with Allie Way and had an adopted son? In my opinion, this would have been an amazing storyline, at least a story, and just showing how much modern our world society could have been based on the Melopon show. It is just something that they could have been. If they had put this in the shows officially, it would have been more connected to the family. But still, even this is a fan made, it's still a very cute picture of them as a family. I have to admit that. Anyways, that is all I want to say. But if you have your own opinions, what's gonna happen? What could have happened to Strike's father? Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, subscribe, leave a comment, and as always, this is Switch W over and out.